Hi, thanks for tuning into the second clip, calming skills to help turn down that fight or flight response. Now, my name's Ed Sliper and I work in health development, and thanks for tuning into this. Now, as we said before, when we looked at these recording these skills in these sessions, this is our second session on calming skills. They're not just useful now during the big change we're having with the compass. This is useful for any time. Um, I think we'd all agree at times working in the health service can be stressful. There's no question about that. So, how do we maintain that calmness, that dealing with that stress, that pressure? These can be used on a daily basis by us all. Now, I will say, hold my hand up. I use these skills all the time. They're helpful, but the same ground rules apply. We're not telling anybody what to do. We're putting ideas out there we hope you're going to find helpful. So, this is the second. We looked at managing change in the first clip. This is about calming skills. We're going to come back and look at being a bit kinder to ourselves, supporting somebody under pressure, and pulling the themes together. I want to remind us there is support available. I'll come back to that. So let's get started. There we go. Now, sorry about that little mishap in the clip. Now, what does a high level of stress do to anyone? Now, let's understand our nervous system. Now, to explain this, I'm going to use Dan Siegel's hand model of the brain. I think this is really helpful for all of us to understand stress. And folks have heard me, you know I talk about this all the time. Now you got the spinal column coming up. That's bringing all our nerves up to the brain. But then you have two parts of the brain. Yes, the brain's very complicated, but basically two parts. The downstairs brain, that's back here, the brainstem. That's where our life functions are, our breathing, our heart rate, our blood pressure. It's also where our big feelings are. And part of the downstairs brain, that limbic system right here in the middle, we have what's called the amygdala. That's a smoke detector for threat, for danger. Now, if that picks up any threat, we get stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. That's how the human race has survived this millennium. Well, it mobilizes us, put us into action. We go into a fight or flight response. We'll get it going to action. And cortisol, adrenaline, those chemicals that give us energy, bring muscles, blood and oxygen to the muscles. So we jump, we act. Now they're functional. Think about this. If you're standing on the road and a big bus is barreling toward you, you have to stop to think. Maybe I should get out of the road. No, I see danger. We jump. No, wait a minute. In everyday, life, those stresses can turn that amygdala on too. And then we have the thinking part of the brain. Now, normally it's our thinking that controls our emotion. The challenge is, though, when those stress hormones hit, they take thinking offline. We flip our lid. We're not thinking straight. And how many times for all of us, when we're under pressure, we're feeling that stress, those are the amygdala's picking up that threat, and those stress hormones hit, yeah, we're not thinking straight. So how do we calm that fight or flight response down? How do we get our thinking back online? That's what we're going to talk about in this clip. Now, important thing to say about these skills, use them calm time so you get used to using them. Don't wait till you're trying to under a really lot of pressure to try to use them because they may not work. Practice in calm time so they become a regular part of the way we react to things. Now, it's not a one size fits all. We're all different. Coping skills, different people have different things that work for them, but also have realistic expectations. These skills don't work 100% of the time. Be realistic. And you can combine skills. You can put them in a sequence, you can link them, make them your own, you can tweak them. But also remember, there's no quick fix for stress. It's how we build these into healthy habits that we use on a regular basis. Now, a bit of word of a caution. If you feel you're trying to use these and they make things worse, well, stop. That might be a good sign. Well, you need to talk to somebody about it. We will point you where you can get a little bit more help if you need it. So, the first one, pretty practical, pretty basic. Halt. Make sure your body's getting what it needs. Make sure you're not too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. That's all useful. Now, I'll go back to that. Sometimes if we're hungry, well, what's that word we use? Hangry. It affects our mood. And tired, we're not thinking straight when we're when we're exhausted. So maybe you just need rest. Listen to your body. What does your body need? The second skill, I really like this. It's called RAIN. How do we deal with those silly emotions that come up? And that was coined by Michelle McDonald over 20 years ago. It's an easy remember tool for dealing with strong emotions. Now, RAIN has 4 steps. You recognize your feeling, just put a name on it. By naming your feeling, it'll come back to the brain. By naming it, you're creating that little bit of a pause and a stop. It gives you a bit of control. Just name what you feel. And the second, extension of the first, accept it. Feelings are normal. Accept it. Don't try to fight or run away from it or avoid it. Accept it. It is what it is. And the third one, then, turn on your thinking time. Turn on that thinking part of the brain. Investigate. Get curious. Where's that feeling coming from? What's going on here? What choice do I have? And the last one, you can use 2 different words for the end. Non-identity. We are not our feeling. A feeling is a state. Feelings are temporary. They're going to pass. You keep saying, I am angry. I am anxious. Well, does that mean you're an anxious person? Well, that's a trait. No. Feelings are a state. They're going to pass. It could also stand for nurturing yourself. Now, one of the most practical tools we have, and it's at our disposal every day, is breathing, but deep breathing. Because when we get anxious and those stress hormones hit, we're breathing rapid and shallow from our chest. Now, the opposite, you breathe from the pit of your stomach and breathe out more than you're breathing in. We're flooding our body with oxygen. And that, go back to the brain, that is turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, our calming bit. Now, that has profound effect. And people that practice relaxed breathing, throughout the day, 10 to 15 minutes throughout the day, well, they're going to have better well-being. 15 to 20 minutes a day, you're going to lower your blood pressure. More than 30 minutes a day, you could literally change some of the chemicals in your brain. Now, there's different kinds of breathing. There's box breathing. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. There's 2 to 4. Breathe in for 2, and you're breathing from the pit of your stomach, not your chest. Breathe in for 2, but blow out for 4. There's puckered breathing. That's one of my favorite, because when you breathe in for 2, when you breathe out, pucker your lips like you're blowing out a straw. Find a breathing technique that works for you. And when stress does hit, what a great signal. And how we can become, that could become a habit that we learn to breathe. And you can do this practically. When I'm sitting and turning on the computer, I'm waiting for it to boot up. What a perfect time to do some relaxed breathing. I'm not worried about what emails are going to be coming my way or what work I've got to do. No, just relax breathing, because you got a minute or 2 before the computer boots up. Breathing is one of the most practical tools we all have. The third one, rhythmic movement. Now you think, how do you calm a crying baby? Well, you swaddle it and rock it. Now, where have we learned that rocking, we forget to do it? Now, we could rock, sway, dance. And it was interesting. During COVID, there were TikTok clips of nurses and EDs around the country dancing. And people saying, well, they don't have time. There was some criticism attached. No, wait a minute. What a good way to blow off some of that stress. Rhythmic movement really does help. Do you have a rocking chair in your house? Yeah, I find that really soothing. Okay, the next one, using your senses, your sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. Focus on what you see. Look around the room. What's blue in the room? What's different in the room? What's rectangular? Smell is powerful. What smell gives me a sense of relaxation, calming? Do you have scented candles in the house? Different things that smell. Our hearing. As you're breathing deep, try to focus on anything you hear. Now, it might take a bit of time pick up the background noises, but it's amazing what we hear, and we're not paying attention to it. Touch can be particularly soothing. You're touching something smooth, something rough, something a worry stone, something soft. You're rubbing your arms, you're touching your body. It could be particularly soothing. And taste, really focus on what you're tasting, something very, very sharp, or peppermint, a bit of lemon. When you use your senses, you're distracting the brain. You're focused on what your senses will pick up, not the stress around you. Now, there's a nice little technique 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You focus on 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell. Taste, well, I like to replace that with one good thing about myself. And you could try 3, 3, 3. That's a little easier for everyday stuff, but it's also useful for children. 3 things I see, 3 things I feel, 3 things I can feel in my body. So, and another really nice way to use your sensory grounding, feet in the floor. It's using your touch. Really focus on your feet pressed against the floor. Now, that's going to be also used in self-compassion, but that's tomorrow. That's the next session. Now, how you feel contained. Nice little technique by Peter Levine called self-hug. When things really get overwhelming and we feel out of control, put one hand on your shoulder, one hand under your armpit, and you're giving yourself a big hug. As you're breathing deep and you're hugging yourself, you're picturing yourself as a container. Everything inside me I own. My thoughts, my feelings, what's going on in my body. And you stay that way till you can feel calm. And another way of self-containment, how many people use a soft blanket or a weighted blanket just to feel contained? Nice little technique we can use anytime. Now, clench fist exercise. I really like this one because what we're doing through this is putting our body in a little mini fight or flight response and using calming and our body to come out of it. Now, if you want to try this, get comfortable in your chair, feet on the floor, a couple of deep breaths, and put your hands in your out and really clench your fists. Really clench them. Tighten. Almost makes you feel your fingernails dig into the palm of your hands. And focus on what are you feeling in your body as you clench your fists? What emotions does that bring for you? What's going on for you as you clench your fists? Stay that way for another 5, 10 seconds. Now, release your fists, open your palms, and face them upward. As you're breathing deep, what changes as you put your hands upward? Now, final, bring your hands together, one on top of the other, and bring it to your chest. As you're breathing deeply, feel the warmth of your hands on your heart. Can you feel your heartbeat? Breathe in hope. Breathe in happiness. I do this exercise quite a lot with people. It's amazing how people say, I feel really tense, but when I do this and this, I feel more relaxed and calm. That says something quite powerful. What I do does matter. That's a really helpful exercise. Now, the next exercise, I keep putting this on, glimmers. Glimmers are those moments of safety and connection. They're every day. They're all around us. What we see, what we have around us, I'm looking around my room here, things that just give me a sense of connection and, pleasantness. Glimmers happen every day, but we don't notice them. Have glimmers. Have them with you. They help us feel safe and connected. The next one, what we say to ourselves does matter. And it's Rick Hanson. Rick Hanson's a neuroscientist, author of a book called Hardwiring for Happiness. Your mind takes shape, Rick says, from what it repeatedly rests on. Now, people who are more resilient say these things to themselves quite regularly. They're phrases that we can use when stress builds that really help, really ground us, bring ourselves back to the present. I can get through this. I'm not going to let myself be a victim. Life's not always fair, and it's not. Things happen. This too shall pass. Most stress is temporary. What can I learn from this? There's always learning in anything that's stressful. I need some time to calm down. I need some time to relax and soothe this. So take a break. I still have things to be grateful for, even when things are quite stressful. There's things there that we can be grateful for, the good things we're missing if we're focusing on the negative. It is what it is. That's about acceptance, things we cannot change. And a big one, I'm going to let this go. A big question you might ask yourself, can I do anything about this tomorrow? If the answer is no, let it go. Choose your battles. What we say to ourselves really does matter. The last one we're going to talk about is called five-finger breathing. Now, it's a combination of both physical touch and breathing. You open your hand like this, take your index finger. As you close your eyes, feet on the floor, trace your finger. You breathe in very deeply. Focus on the feeling of your fingers, of your hand tracing your finger. And when you get down to the end of your little finger, just reverse and go back. Breathing deeply, focusing on the feeling of touch, the feeling of your finger tracing your hand. And you can do that till you return to a state of calm. These techniques work. Choose the ones that work for you, and you can combine them. Now, I did say there's support out there for us. Staff Wellbeing have put up a page tagger with all the support that's there for you. The sessions we did were on this. The Mindfulness and Recovery College that's on offer. Conversations with people that if you need help, or psychological staff well-being, inspire workplaces, and coaching, that we can get a bit of support behind us. They're doing lunchtime walks, and on Live Well, you will see a wealth of activities that people can choose to join. Have a look at that. That got launched in an all-service user email. It's on Live Well. That's support for all of us across the trust. Now, the final one, I have two self-help packs because Bend Don't Break, that tool we use in Smart, people can use that. And self-compassion that we're going to talk about in the next session. There's an online version of the two booklets, both Bend Don't Break and Self-Compassion, with visual clips people can use to work through the material, work through the workbook. If they'd rather see it and hear it than read it. Now, the only thing we do ask, if you go on to a search website and use one of those two tools, we do ask, give us a bit of feedback, because how do we know it's helpful? I really do hope you found this helpful. Next, we're going to look at being kinder to ourselves, using self-compassion. Like all the first four clips, the detail we have, it's in a paper. We want to make them available for you. But any feedback is greatly appreciated and valued. So there's Staff Wellbeing's website. Let them know if any of this was helpful, and there's mine. And drop us an email. Let us know if any of these ideas work for you. And like I said, yes, they're useful now when we're going through a big change, but these skills are useful at any time in our daily lives. I really hope you did find something helpful here. Thanks very much for tuning into this. Thanks.